B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'nasliach. Im tishkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yamini. Titpak leshoni lechiki. Im lo eskerechi. Im lo a'alet Yerushalayim al rosh simchati. These are the famous words that are uttered by every single Chatan worldwide under the chuppah, right before everyone jumps up and screams and laughs and dances for the Chatan and Kala. However, these words are much deeper than just a dance before the Chatan and Kala. These words are the words that have been uttered for thousands of years as a remembrance that even in our happiest moments, happiest occasions, we will never forget our home. We will never forget that our real joy is in Yerushalayim. We shall never forget that our hearts belong in the East. The Sanzer Rebbe was born, unfortunately, with a severe limp. And it was not just the physical looks of it that bothered him and he suffered through. But in fact, as he got older, the pain and the agony was debilitating for him. As he got much, much older, it had come to a point where he could barely walk to his door or barely walk down the street. And when people used to come to visit him and get brachot from him, it was very difficult for him to get up and accompany them to the door when they were leaving. As you know, we have a mitzvah to accompany our guests to the door. And he no longer could do that. Until one time, a chassid comes to speak to his Rebbe about a decision that he's made to move to Eretz Israel. And the Rebbe sits with him and he speaks to him about all the details and the shoulds and the coulds and the things that he could do there. Finally, the chassid gets up to leave and he says his goodbyes and he gets to the door and he hears his Rebbe struggling in the background. He turns around and he sees his Rebbe is nudging and moving around to get up out of his seat. And he says, Rebbe, please, there's no need for that. Please don't get up. He says, no, I want to. And he finally gets up and he limps his way to his chassid and he accompanies him to the door, then outside the door, down the stairs, out into the street, until he actually limps his way, struggles all the way to the outskirts of the village, accompanying his chassid. Until he no longer could walk, he turns to his chassid with tears in his eyes and he says, listen to me. When you get there, send my regards to every tree. Send my best to every rock, every street corner. Hug every Jew for me. And please, most of all, send my regards to the Shekhinah, to the glory of God. And tell him, please, we are suffering in this exile. We want to come home and we'll be home soon. Please, hug Yerushalayim for me. In this week's parasha, Parashat Re'eh, we read the parasha of the blessings and the curses. The do's and the don'ts of the Torah. When Moshe Rabbeinu was warning the Jews about the things we should not do. If you notice, they are all connected to the land of Israel. It precedes it. If you want to keep the land of Israel, which I've gifted to you, make sure to keep my laws and my ordinances. This was the gift of God. Yerushalayim and Israel was not given to the Jews by no politicians or presidents or no one like that. It was gifted by God over 4,000 years to our forefathers, with the condition of us maintaining our connection to Him through the Torah. And sure, some of us don't feel that connection that the Sanzer Rebbe did. Of course we don't. And the reason for that could possibly be because we don't have that much of a connection with the Torah. Because you see, our connection to the land of Israel is only through the Torah and mitzvot. If we really want to yearn like the Sanzer Rebbe, that love and affection for the land of Israel, the only way to do it is through the Torah. The more we learn our traditions, the closer we come to our past, the better we understand the strong connection that we have with this land. Even if we can't get to the point that the Sanzer Rebbe got to, we could definitely feel a better connection only if we look in the Torah, only if we keep our end of the bargain. Shabbat Shalom.